along with the longtime NFL tradition of the Detroit Lions, the Silverdome has long been known as a Supercross haven. Tonight, we celebrate the 20th year of AMA Supercross in Pontiac, Michigan. Hello, everybody. I'm Art Ekman along with David Bailey. 20 years of Supercross here in Pontiac, David. That doesn't tell the entire story, really, because double days, you had them when you were racing.
Right. It was so difficult physically. When you came here, you knew you had to be physically ready to handle those demands because you didn't get out of here, as a rider at least, until after midnight. And mechanics was even tougher. In case you were on the podium, you didn't get out of here once you talked to the press back to the hotel till around 2 a.m. It was also on daylight savings when they ran the clocks ahead an hour, so no one's getting any sleep. I can remember coming in here Sunday afternoon finding out they're running the track backwards. So always a challenge here in the Silverdome.
Must not have bothered you too much. You swept 2 races one weekend here, I know, but this is really the house Supercross-wise that Bob Hanna built.
That's right. Anybody that doesn't remember past the McGraths, the Stantons, and the Johnsons, Bob Hanna was a legend. And he took the sport to a whole new level. He came in serious, he trained hard, and he set the pace for everyone else to follow, and he set records that are just now getting beaten by Jeremy McGrath. And one is that Jeremy may never beat, is that's his record here at the Silverdome. 9 wins, 6 of those consecutive.
Jeremy goes for his 12th consecutive Supercross victory here tonight. He's been compared with great athletes in other sports. I think we even said that he was the Babe Ruth of Supercross on one telecast. And the more I hear it, the more I believe it. He has broken all kinds of attendance records in the various venues we've been in. And also, the TV ratings have doubled what they expected to be. So similarities, the Babe and Jeremy have a few. Our man down trackside, Marty Reed, he compares Jeremy's career with several racing stars.
To say the performance of Jeremy McGrath has been astounding would be an understatement. He's won a record-setting 11 straight races and 40 in his young Supercross career. That's another record. And we all know how Jeremy stacks up against his fellow motorcycle racers. But what about motor racing in general? How does the king of Supercross compare with the all-time record holders for victories in NASCAR, IndyCar, and Formula One? Richard Petty is the king of NASCAR, but it took Richard 8 years and 280 starts to get his first 40 wins. That's a winning ratio of 14% and a figure that any racer would cherish. IndyCar's A.J. Foyt had a better winning percentage, claiming 25% of his first 158 races. But those first 40 wins came over an 11-year period. Formula One's Alain Prost had the best winning percentage of the 3, going to victory lane 26% of his first 155 starts. But 40 wins still took 10 years. Now take a look at Jeremy's record. In less than half the time, McGrath has needed only 56 races to reach victory lane 40 times, an astounding 71%. And it's the reason Jeremy McGrath is king of the hill in Supercross.
An amazing type comparison, really, David. But he could set another record here tonight, and that is if he should put the bike on the gate and go 2 feet on the racetrack, he will have won his 4th consecutive title, a new record.
Well, that's probably on his mind, but it's been, I mean, you kind of knew that he was going to win the Supercross title. And I can bet you that now that Jeremy's close enough to winning every single race in the season, that's the only thing he's going to be thinking about on the starting gate.
Okay, we've got 250 qualifying coming up when we return to the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. AMA Supercross. We are back in the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. And David, our Suzuki track map shows one of the most interesting tracks we've seen so far this season.
That's right. And one of the first sections I want to highlight is before you go up into the stands, into that corkscrew to the right of your screen, that whoop section, those whoops are deep, 3 feet deep, some of them, but they're very different, inconsistent. The riders are having trouble through there. You go up into the stands, it's a double jump coming down out of the stands, and right before the finish line jump, there's an off-camber whoop section. That's new. Also, there's a whoop section, Art. The typical whoop section we always have has a double jump right in the middle of it.
Okay, the qualifying procedure for Supercross has riders running in one of the 2 qualifying heats with the top 4 finishers getting the direct transfer to the main event. They also get their pick of the better gate positions. The rest of the field then goes on to the semifinals, where the top 5 from each go to the main event, and then the remaining 2 positions left in the 20-rider field have to come out of the last chance qualifier. So our first qualifier of the evening for 250s is underway. Henry on the inside, but number 16, Greg Albertine, gets the whole shot. That is Albertine out in front going to the whoops.
Albertine and Emick both been so strong off the gate lately, and through that whoop section, it really doesn't matter if you get the whole shot or not. If you get through there quick, like Doug Henry did, you can move up quick.
Jeff Emick, who has won his last 3 qualifying heats, is in 3rd. But Jimmy Button's putting pressure on him, number 100. It is still Albertine out in front. His first checkered flag of the year was last week, picking off a semifinal.
Now they're starting into that tough section. Look at the difference in lines. Doug Henry's
great timing by Henry.
He's carried that front end high. Now he leads it up into that corkscrew coming out the first time. You see these guys doubling down in there. Albertine choosing to go across the off-camera whoop section and pushes them wide.
Henry in his comeback year has won one heat this season.
Look how tight these front like 5-6 riders are. Bradshaw about 7th, 8th place. He's only about, he could throw a blanket over these guys. Ryan Hughes flying through the whoop section.
He's making a big move on Emmy. But it is still Henry, Albertine, Emmy, and Hughes bar to bar with his teammate.
Hughes looked really strong in practice. He doesn't get hung up here, and he's trying to get through these guys and around his teammate. He'll have a real shot at Doug Henry, who's already starting to open up a pretty comfortable lead, Art.
Let's go down to Marty Reed.
The race. That they were really psyched for this event. They wanted to break the string tonight on the winning streak of, you know who, Jeremy McGrath. And right now they're running second and third.
We might add, while Emmick and Hughes are battling it out, looking to take over the lead, his teammate, their teammate Damon Huffman is not here tonight because of injury.
And Ryan Hughes once again flies to that whoop section. He comes in there, clicks up a gear, and just goes into it wide open. And look how low he stays over the triple jump. He's making up a lot of time here and there. He almost hits the back tire of Doug Henry.
Number 5 is Ryan Hughes. Number 2, Jeff Emmick.
Emmick has been riding fantastic lately, but I think Hughes has been a little bit faster, and they had a tough time getting around Emmick. If they can get around him quick, I think he can go up there and challenge Doug Henry, the leader, but Emmick is tough to pass.
Henry, Emmick, Hughes, and Wyndham right now with Albertine in 5th, and Bradshaw moving into 6th around Jimmy Button.
See those riders crossing it up off that finish line jump. They swing the back end out to position themselves for the inside of that corner. See how tight they still are. It's a great battle for the lead, and Wyndham now just out of your screen. There he is right there behind Ryan Hughes. Is really starting to put on a charge. He caught these guys.
Wyndham number 38. Those are the top 4. We see them in a great battle for second place. Ryan Hughes number 5. And Emmy comes back on him with a block pass. And gives off just at the last second.
Yeah, it's kind of a, I don't know. I mean, you got to get in there and get aggressive, but there he just did it again.
Back and forth we go.
I think Roy Turner may be a little nervous at this point, and especially if this was the main event. But these guys have really caused some problems for each other so far this season. If they could race the track and not each other, that's okay. Right now, they're still staying pretty close to the leader, so I don't think they've done anything Roy Turner could be upset with.
Doug Henry continues to lead the Kawasaki's right now. Stay tuned. Supercross qualifying continues from the Superdome in a moment. Superdome 250 Supercross qualifying is underway, and Doug Henry is out in front. You see Greg Albertine. He fell at the end of the whoop section, that long whoop section. Got up holding his shoulder, David.
Well, I don't like to see that. He really needs to stay on 2 wheels and ride like he's been riding. I mean, he looks fine, and all of a sudden he's down. I mean, it doesn't look to me like he's riding the ragged edge, but every week he seems to find himself on the ground, and it's hard to build confidence when he's spending time on the dirt.
Still, Doug Henry continues to lead as he goes to the straightaway. Right there, number 15, pursued by Jeff Emmick. A little gap between Emmick and Hughes now, but a big gap after the first 4 riders. I think the rest have said, hey, these guys are out in front. They're going to take the positions to go to the main.
And Hughes, as he goes through there, he's feet off the pegs. He starts into that section so fast. Looks like he may be riding a little bit over his head, but he's been pulling it off. That time he just came up a little short on the double and lost his rhythm at the end, but he didn't lose any time. He actually made up time on the leaders. Now it's anybody's race.
It won't be long until we'll see the white flag signifying the final lap.
So we got a Yamaha out front, 2 Kawasaki's, and another Yamaha at the tail end of this battle.
Here comes Hughes.
All 4 of these guys are really starting to tighten up now.
into that tight corkscrew. Henry still out in front, looking for his second heat win of the year. What a great comeback year this has been for someone you didn't even expect would be riding this year.
Well, this is a fantastic heat race win if he can hang on to it, because he's had plenty of challenges, had to work his way into the lead. Plenty of places to pass out there, block pass, I should say. I don't think there's any sections where these guys are that much faster than Doug, but he's protecting his line, and you can notice as he goes into this corner right here, he'll run that inside line and force Emig to do something else.
Emig gets the lead, but Henry will come off that rocker.
Great shot of Henry jumping off that plateau all the way over both those jumps. He goes wide and runs over the mechanic's toes again.
Great racing in our opening qualifying round of the 250s here at Pontiac.
This track is really putting a challenge to the riders.
Oh, they get all bottled up. And that happens frequently in the corkscrew. Final lap, white flag lap. Wyndham getting in front of Hughes. Wyndham number 38.
Really starting to put on a charge, but you can see right there, if he goes wide and takes a different line, Hughes is right there to take it back. So you got to think a lot of strategy coming into this final lap, where to go, what I should do, and not open up an opportunity for somebody to pass me while I'm trying to pass the guy ahead of me. Hughes
what a great battle. What a great battle. Oh, and he nipped a hay bale. Wyndham did.
Well, that got Wyndham's heart started if it wasn't already. That could have taken him off the track. He did a good job to hang on to it, so it's right back where he started in fourth. He'll make the main from there, but...
Wyndham, of course, 125 Western rider, trying his luck out in the 250 machines, getting the experience needed to move up through the ranks after it looks like he's probably going to win that Western title now. The checkered flag will be out as Doug Henry goes over those little loops right before the finish line jump. Doug Henry, Emig, Hughes, and Wyndham, the order. Marty. Okay, Marty Reed will be with our winner when we return. Earning their way to tonight's main event from our opening qualifying round. Doug Henry held them off, and he's with Marty Reed right now.
I got to tell you guys, for a man who, well, a while ago we all wondered if he'd ever ride a motorcycle again. Here you are, amazing us again. What a great ride. What was the key for you?
I don't know. I just got a good start and try to ride a smooth, consistent race. There's a lot of different lines out there. It's a really good track. Rich Winkler and the crew really did a good job.
It also looks like those are the weak of heart. In other words, if they want the position, they got to take it away from you because of the way the track is set up.
Yeah, there's just a million places to pass out there. So, if you're in second or something, I'd rather be in third kind of than in second, because you try to get around these guys and everybody's just passing you from behind.
Oh, you did fine because you ended up first. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. This is like the farewell for my wife, because we're expecting, so this is her last race, so I'm just glad to be up here for the last race for her.
Guys, your winner in heat number 1, Doug Henry.
One of the nicest guys in racing, and once he fully recovers from that broken back of last year, it's phenomenal. He's on the track, but once those stomach muscles get stronger, David, he should be right up there during the main, don't you think?
I think so. He's had the whole shot, had an opportunity to run up there, but he hasn't been able to stay there because it's going to take him a while to get back to where he was, but always smiling no matter what.
We saw a good shot of the champion, 3 times, looking for his 4th consecutive victory here tonight. Ward, Bradshaw, Button, Lawrence, and Albertine, after crashing, did not make it to the main event after our first qualifying round. There's Mike Larocco, who has turned it up a little bit lately.
Well, he's turned it up, but I just saw him yawn right there, so I hope he's ready. But he's starting right next to Jeremy. I don't see that often, or at least I don't remember it anyways, and that's good. I'm glad to see those guys starting next to each other, and you need to see what they're doing and try to get off with them and not be intimidated, and that's the way to do it. Start right next to them and go for it.
Let's go down to Marty.
Guys, we're talking about Mike Larocco. Talked with him just a few minutes ago. He's coming off his best finish of the year, 3rd place. That was after they went back to last year's setup, pretty much. And I said, hey, did you change anything from last week? He says, heck no. He says, this feels pretty good. He says, it looks like it's working well for this racetrack. We're going to find out how good he is, because you're right. He's lined up right next to Jeremy McGrath.
So we have the remaining 250 hopefuls at the gate for heat number 2 of qualifying here at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan.
The other guy that I would look for in this heat race is Ezra Lusk, he's had a 5th, several 4ths, a 3rd. And I kind of been beating him up a little bit, saying, man, he needs to get in there, especially in the Indianapolis round where he had a chance, I thought, to go up there and challenge McGrath, and he didn't. But he's been playing it smart. I talked to he and his mechanic, Ed Longacre, and they were like, look, we're not going to take any chances and do what happened to us last year, which is what's been happening to Albertine this year. He spent a lot of time on the ground. Difficult to build confidence. Right now, Ezra's ready to start doing some winning.
That's right. He's right now in the stage of learning process that he should have gone through last year, but went through a lot of injuries and just made a lot of mistakes coming out of the 125 ranks. That was his first year in 250s. 32nd board is up, so they've started to rev a little bit. And when it goes sideways, it'll be from 5 to 10 seconds before that gate drops. Jeremy McGrath, the incomparable Jeremy McGrath. Okay, we're ready to go now. As they're revved, and here comes the second qualifying heat of the evening from the Silverdome. It's Michael Craig, number 17 on the inside. Ezra Lusk, 34 on the outside. But cutting in is Michael Rocco, number 8.
I can't remember the last time Jeremy got a bad start in a heat race. He went through the corner. Oh, he must have...
Jeremy goes down. Jeremy McGrath is down.
Well, I was about to say, last time I saw him get a bad start in the heat race, I don't even remember. He was climbing up the inside of the loop section, passing everybody. You can see him right there as he went over the double jump. He's looking over to see where the leaders are. He wants to know how much time he's lost. He got out of that little scuffle. He can have his work cut out now.
Jeremy, the last time I can remember he had to go to the last chance qualifier was right here in Pontiac in 1994. He crashed in the qualifying heat. Here you see it.
Here he was trying to work his way. He almost was into second place, going to the inside of that loop section, trying to thread the needle. Got hung up between a rider and that hay bale. And that's what we saw happen to Emig last week, trying to pass McGrath. He got hung up on the hay bale, so now he knows how it feels.
So number 17, Michael Craig, is out in front of our second qualifying heat with Michael Rocco getting a decent start for once.
Well, a decent start and the opportunity to beat Jeremy, who's still as far back as maybe 12th, 14th, as close as I can count. Mike Craig starting to look better and better after having his injury in Atlanta. He came back and I think pushed it a little too soon. It's tough to come back and kind of take it easy when you know you're capable of running with certain riders.
Especially coming back from a broken leg. He just came back too soon, that's for sure. He'd only ridden 2 days before that first race. McGrath, number 1, in 11th place. And only the top 4, remember, make it to the main event out of this. Ooh, Travis Hodges casing it big time on the far side. And he's moved into 8th now. Number 1, Jeremy McGrath taking on Buddy Anthonez, number 22. There's Skip Norfolk counting the positions. Skipper.
He's probably never had to do that before. Usually Jeremy slices his way to the front so quick, but I think it's going to be a little bit tougher here tonight. He's still got a long ways to go. He's working on Buddy Anthonez right now, and you don't see Jeremy come up short on jumps. I've seen him making a couple little mistakes. Nothing to be concerned about, but something you don't normally see. Look at him getting aggressive.
Yes. McGrath and Anthonez. They've got Swank in front of him. Brown and Ezra Lusk in 3rd.
Jeremy back in the pack going, man, I don't like this at all. I'm having to work my way around. I can't use the line I want to use. It's very much taking him out of his usual routine of just going wherever he wants to go. You see he goes to the inside right here. His next victim, I guess you could call it, is Brian Swink. Finished 2nd here last year, had a good strong run. He had to come out of the last chance qualifier, I think, too, Art, as he crashed into the starting gate.
That's right. One of the most spectacular crashes of the year. Great highlight footage, and he came back for a wonderful position in the main event. Jeremy McGrath in the whoops now, in those short whoops before the corkscrew. He's taking on number 23, Brian Swink, a hometown favorite from Michigan. There he goes, Jeremy McGrath.
There was no room
Next
right
on
there.
the list is Brown.
I didn't think he had any room, and he somehow found some.
Mike Brown is next, number 9, another Honda of Troy rider. Ezra Lusk in 3rd place, had food poisoning last night. Well, we'll be back with the conclusion of Heat 2 after this break in the action. Jeremy McGrath, while we were gone, has moved into 4th position.
Right there as he went around the corkscrew, it looked like he got up there and hit his shift lever on that inside marker. You saw him have to kick it back into gear real quick. The quick reflexes of this kid, a lot like Hannah. We talked about Hannah already, how much success he had. Great reflexes. I see the same thing from McGrath. That's why he's able to work through the pack so well. He's able to think just so much faster than everybody else. Probably because he rides a little bit faster than everyone else, and things come up a little quicker.
He's coming up on Ezra Lusk right now. Lusk, as we mentioned, had food poisoning last night. I can imagine what it's like to try to ride, especially when I've got laryngitis and I'm trying to talk.
Well, you can imagine how tough it is to try and stay healthy all year long. You're going from all kinds of different climates. And right now, he's working on Ezra Lusk for third place. And there's a lot of flaggers waving. The rider went down on the triple. So LaRocco, Lusk, and Jeremy, as they all came through there, were only able to ride over those
It was Travis Hodges on the far side. He's down and out. Jeremy McGrath gets by Ezra Lusk.
Oh, he just snuck by Lusk right there. And that, I think that what really set that up was when they went over the triple. That allowed Jeremy to close up right on the back door of Lusk. And then Lusk had to sort of change his game plan altogether.
Great example of sportsmanship when you see the yellow flags on a triple like that, to take each one individually.
Well, especially in a battle like these guys were in, Jeremy having to work his way to the front, which is different. These guys desperately wanting to beat him, and coming into that triple and having to go, I just got to single it, hoping that Jeremy's going to single it as well. I've been in that position before, and it's no fun. You don't know what the guy's going to do, but there's a lot of respect and trust amongst these top riders.
Out in front, Michael Craig has a 5-second lead on McGrath and LaRocco. You see LaRocco, number 8, clip the hay bale, and McGrath is trying to get in front of him for a better gate position.
This is the place where he got around Lusk to see if he can do the same thing to LaRocco. A lot of ruts getting through these whoop sections, and it looks to me like Jeremy's timing him so that he jumps over the bumps that have all the ruts in them. That's pretty smart.
Coming off that great corkscrew that sends them up into the stands here at the Silver Dome. Jeremy McGrath in pursuit of Mike LaRocco. I think the greatest comeback race I ever saw Jeremy make was a 125 affair in San Jose, in which he fell down, was last, and in 15 laps won the race.
Well, the question now is if he can get around LaRocco, does he still have enough time to get up there and catch Mike Craig, who's still got a pretty good lead? LaRocco's going to give him a fight. LaRocco won this race last year, and now that he has an opportunity, I can't remember when LaRocco was ahead of Jeremy this far into any race.
Oh, last year, Jeremy had his problems. He won in '94 with a great effort coming out of that LCQ. And now he's taking on Mike LaRocco.
It's the same as it was the last lap. LaRocco had about the same lead. McGrath sneaking up the inside.
Oh, look out. Jeremy wants it. This is good racing. I love the qualifying races, David. White flag lap as Jeremy goes over the start-finish line. Actually, just the finish line jump. In this instance, LaRocco feels the heat once again as Jeremy starts coming in on him.
McGrath made a little mistake there coming into that corner, and it looked to me like as he came out of the stands and rode up to the finish line jump, he sort of stood there like, okay, let's get back to the basics. I don't have to win this heat race. What I need to do is keep it on 2 wheels and ride smart. And he's regrouped, and now he's starting to put the pressure back on LaRocco, but Mike Craig is still holding on to that lead. Jumping that jump, going into the mechanics area, drifting wide. That was the problem that LaRocco had. You see the difference of lines. He got way out there. That's what caused him to clip that hay bale before. Yeah,
let's give credit where credit's due. Michael Craig, whose last heat win was San Diego, and LaRocco and Jeremy McGrath have tightened things up on the last lap. The fans are standing here at the Silverdome. Checkers are out now. Here comes Michael Craig. He crosses the finish line. LaRocco, Jeremy McGrath, and Ezra Lusk will have an easy time of it as those 4 qualify going directly to the main. So our second heat winner, we'll be hearing from him when we return. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed. Round 12 of Supercross action for Pontiac Silverdome. Here's a look at the Suzuki results of the top 4 from heat number 2. And Jeremy McGrath had only lost 2 qualifying heats prior to this time, and he's never been as low as 3rd.
Well, you know what I saw in Jeremy on that last couple of laps is it looked like he was trying everything he could do to try to get around LaRocco and maybe go up and challenge the leader, but it wasn't coming together for him. He made a few mistakes. LaRocco was riding good. He couldn't get around. It looked like he just kind of went, well, you know what? 3rd ain't bad. I haven't, you can't win them all, so I think that's just the composure he has. He knows he can come back to the main event, win it.
It's got to be a good feeling for Michael Craig. Marty Reed's with him now.
The man on my left has not raced with us since Dallas. What a way to say welcome back. Good ride.
Yeah, you know, I felt really good in my heat race, my first race. I took about 6 weeks off. I rode Dallas, but I was hurting, and I hadn't been riding in a month. And since Dallas, I rode 2 days. Came out here and beat these guys. My Honda Troy, I just want to say thanks to the whole team, Eric Kehoe, and I'm happy. You know, I got tired, and I'm going to admit it. I'm going to go out to the main and give it every lap I got, but I'm already tired after that. Yeah,
you're sounding like you're puffing, so you're not as fit as you normally would be, right?
Well, yeah, because, I mean, I've been going to the gym a little bit, but nothing's like riding a motorcycle. My arms really got me there.
Well, so far, so good. His first heat win since San Diego. Good job, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Guys, there he is, your heat race winner. Oh, by the way, we should point out Jeremy McGrath qualifying for the main. That means, guys, all he has to do is take the start, and he will clinch the championship. Of course, I know Skip Norfolk right now is probably back there saying, please don't trip over anything. Nobody run over his toes. You know what it's like. Hey, by the way, I just thought about who you sound like up there, Art. Remember Johnny Most, the broadcaster?
The Celtics.
Havlicek bang, it's good. You go for it.
Yeah, Johnny Most. Yeah, okay. That's an unusual evening. It came on me so fast last night. We'll have the semifinals. Always exciting racing coming up next.
Service had issued a hurricane warning before the main event, and Hanna was on the charge, passing Johnson, Lachine, Barnett. He'd worked his way into third, but he still had to pass Johnny O'Mara and Jeff Ward. And Ward, having trouble with the ruts, goes down, hands the lead over to the O-Show, and with 2 laps to go in the same corner, Hanna with an outside line passes Johnny O'Mara and takes over the lead. And to the delight of the crowd, with his fist in the air, Hanna picks up his 9th Silverdome career win.
Unbelievable record, and Davey. Bob Hanna was really he is a vibrant guy. His personality is so outstanding too, with the fans and just the way he attacks things.
He reminds me of Muhammad Ali. He's like a boxer. He used to prepare himself for races. He actually was really unfriendly to me, and I was his teammate. From day to day, he used to taunt the other riders. He didn't really like the other guys, and he came in there and he backed up everything with wins. So anytime you can talk that talk and win, people are still going to love you.
Look at the magnificent crowd we have here once again at the Silver Dome.
Got an AMA amazing McGrath again. And, you know, the fact that he didn't win that first
anything
heat race,
can happen. It shows.
Sure, you know, I mean, it'd be like Jordan not scoring any points in the first half. It doesn't mean he can't come back and score 30 in the second half.
I like your shark fin story on Hanna.
Well, Hanna, at one point when I was kind of looking up to racing, he had a fin on the top of his helmet back when he rode 500s outdoors. And he said that's because his bike was so fast, he needed that on there to hold him straight.
Okay. All kinds of great banners as we now move toward our semifinal number 1. You see Larry Ward's bike there, the Honda Troy rider. He'll be in this semifinal trying to qualify for the main event along with Damon Bradshaw, Jimmy Button, Phil Lawrence, Todd DeHoop, who's from nearby Hudsonville, Michigan, Jeff Hedden, Kevin Crine, William Wilson, just to name a few of the riders. Way down on the list at the starting gate is number 16, as you saw him there, Greg Albertine, who crashed in his qualifying effort earlier. So the 32nd board is now up. The top 5 riders, don't forget, will go to the main event out of this semifinal round.
Pretty healthy lineup for a semi. We've seen that a few times this year. All these guys very capable of qualifying out of the heat race, but not getting the start they needed, having to do it here.
Just to the right is Jimmy Button right near the shack. And just a couple of bikes down from him is Damon Bradshaw with Jeff Hedden in between. That could be a good starting combination. Let's check it out. Albertine is known for good starts. He's got a nose out there, but Phil Lawrence, number 13 to the inside. Larry Ward, number 6. It's Larry Ward, Honda of Troy, going through the whoops.
Well, he snuck through that first corner and did the right thing. Now look at the lead he's got going through the whoop section. So if he can get through that first corner clean and get to that whoop section quick, he can put a lot of distance on the rest of the pack.
Larry Ward trying to recover after a slow start on the season. Had a broken thumb coming out of the European season and really got a slow start on things. But right now, here is the battle for the qualifying rounds. Behind him, Lawrence, number 13, the top privateer. Crine, a surprisingly good race here for Crine, who has had his troubles. Here comes Albertine, though, number 16.
Line. That was a great line. He jumped the last 3 getting out of that whoop section. You see these guys getting all bottled up in that corner. Albertine doing the double down out of the stands. moves him into third place. And back behind this battle, Bradshaw right there going to the inside. He's still got a long ways to go.
Ward already with a 4-second lead on number 13, Phil Lawrence, in second. Looks like the battle will be for second place right now as Greg Albertine tries to stay up on two wheels.
This is where he went down at the end of the whoop section. Lawrence getting through there. Pretty clean, not real fast, but fast enough to stay ahead of Albertine. The battle back behind him, Prine still doing a pretty good job on that KTM, holding off Bradshaw.
And Damon Bradshaw is having a horrible time on those whoops.
Yeah, I saw him get out of control after the finish line jump too. So his timing's a little bit off. The track's starting to get rutted, and when it gets rutted like this, it's starting to get a little dry. You can see a lot of little rocks getting kicked up, and the track's technical enough. That's really adding to it right now.
Out of this timing whoop section, you go up to the corkscrew. I'll bet that's deceiving going uphill like that.
Well, it is, because you can see the shadows right there. They're trying to put a lot of light in there. It's pretty dark, and you go up that hill, and just out of habit, you want to kind of step on the brakes and slow yourself down. And because the dirt's so soft and you're going uphill, you find yourself stopped before the corner. You're like, whoops, I'm not there yet. You see a lot of guys leaning on that inside. Jeremy earlier knocked his bike out of gear that way.
Larry Ward is our leader by a considerable margin here in the first semifinal round. The race to the checkers when we return to the Silverdome. Out in front right now, Larry Ward, Phil Lawrence, Greg Albertine, Jimmy Button, and Damon Bradshaw moving into the bubble as far as the transfer spots to the main. Number 6, Larry Ward, has just shined brilliantly earlier. Kevin Klein, we mentioned him as one of the contenders, has dropped out of the race.
So Lawrence still maintaining that same lead over Albertine. I would expect Albertine to, I thought he was a little bit faster, but maybe he's just trying to be careful and keep it up on two wheels and make sure he gets into the main event. And perhaps he just doesn't have the speed to go up and challenge Lawrence. Lawrence is riding pretty good right now. And these guys are actually starting to pull away from the battle behind him, which Bradshaw is starting to become a part of, trying to put pressure on Button for fourth place.
Well, before last year, Larry Ward taking second place in the points behind Jeremy McGrath. A non-factory rider had never finished that high. Guys like Lawrence were in the usual position of 7th or 8th in the point standings as a privateer or non-factory rider.
Right behind Albertine right there, you can see Bradshaw has moved around Jimmy Button. And he's starting to actually really close the gap. So maybe Button may have been holding him up. Coming through the whoops, there's Bradshaw right there. Look at all the whoops in the whoop section, all the ruts are starting to develop. That makes it really tough through that.
Let's go down to Marty Reed.
But you guys were talking about Damon Bradshaw, and David, it's probably a question you can best answer. You know, some viewers ask me, hey, what's wrong with Bradshaw? You know, this guy used to dominate the sport. He was always good. Comes back after a 2-year layoff and doesn't seem to have it. You know, what is the difference after that 2-year layoff? What happens to a rider?
Everybody gets a little quicker. The tracks change a little bit. The sport kind of picks it up a notch, and you have to come back to where you were and then step it up even more than that. Also, the physical challenges are to get yourself back to where you once were physically and mentally is tough. And then I think he's got the pace to go up and run with these guys. I mean, every week I watch him in practice, he looks good. I'm thinking this might be the night when Bradshaw's going to win, and then he gets a bad start or somebody crashes in front of him. Doesn't mean, you know, the results he's had doesn't reflect how good he's been riding. He's just had some bad luck, and in some cases he may have put himself in bad positions, but I think he's learning, and before the end of the year, he's going to be real tough.
At the white flag lap, the final lap, of course. And right now, Larry Ward, Phil Lawrence, Greg Albertine, and Bradshaw can feel fairly comfortable that they'll be in the main event.
Well, he'll be in the main, but he won't get a very good pick to the line. When you come out of the semi in fourth place, you're going to be either squeezed way over to the inside or way to the outside. And the way the first corner's been tonight, all the hole shots are coming from the middle.
David, on this track, how low down can you go? Is the checkered flag for Larry Ward here in semifinal number 1. How low do you have to go to get a good position?
Well, I think you need to be probably 5 or 6 gates either to the left or the right of the center. Anything away from there, you got to be lucky out the gate.
Once again, we'll be going to trackside when we return. 13 riders have qualified for our 20-rider field here at the Silverdome. these 5 just added to the list. Once again, our man Marty Reed is on the scene with the winner, Larry Ward.
Well, Larry Ward, you made this one look pretty easy. Again, the start seemed to be the key because it's so difficult for everybody to pass. What was it for you?
It was just that, Honda Troy CR250. I got off this line real good, and you're right. The start's very important. It's important in all racing, and we know that. And so it's my fault when I don't get off the line good. I was fortunate enough to get a good start, and I rode real well, real smooth, and it was pretty easy. But I'm looking forward to the main event. It's always a little tougher, but it's also a bigger challenge, so it's a lot more fun.
David Bailey was making a comment about the corkscrew, how sometimes it's deceiving. You can find yourself slowing down too soon because you forget you're going uphill. How exciting is that, or what's the trick to that corner for you guys? Because I know the fans love it.
Yeah, it looks good for the fans. For us, it's a little dark up there, and it's real tight because you're right. When David's right, when you slow down fast because you're going straight uphill. But it's something different. It's good for the fans, and it's interesting for us because it's a new obstacle that we don't see every weekend.
Larry Ward, your winner in semi number 1.
Good comments, David.
Well, Larry is always confident. He's always willing to promote his sponsors, and he's talking about it's his fault when he doesn't get off the line good. Those Honda Troy bikes have been strong off the line this year. There's another one right there, Mike Brown.
Mike Brown. He's looking for a semifinal win here. He's won 2 semifinals this year.
He's gotten good starts. I think he was strong here last year in the 125, if I remember. I think he won that. So anytime you've won somewhere and you go back there, you always feel pretty good about it. And because the soil's usually pretty much the same, the track layout may change somewhat, but you're used to the soil and the way that sort of feels, how the bike slides around, those pebbles that kind of get turned up, that powder in the berms, and maybe he likes that stuff.
Yeah, after 4 years of trying, he got his first Supercross win of any type right here in this stadium. You see Kyle Lewis, who's coming back from all kinds of sore injuries, and Brian Swink, who would love a good run right here, number 23.
Hard to know what's going through these guys' minds right now. They look a little bored to me right now.
Let's go down to Marty. Marty, you know about Kyle.
Well, you mentioned Ezra Lusk was coming off some food poisoning from last night. Number 11, Kyle Lewis, had it last week. And also remember several weeks ago, he injured his shoulder. I said, hey, how's the stomach? He says, oh, that's fine. I'm eating again. And it's staying down. And then they said, well, how's the shoulder? He says, well, I'm back 90%. So if you're going to keep an eye on somebody in here, the two of them side by side, you mentioned Brown and also Kyle Lewis.
Brown, Lewis, Swink, Stevenson, and Castillo, who got into his first main event last week. He will be number 971. So he's going to try to add to that prestige, making the main event here tonight. 32nd board is up. And this tremendous crowd here at the Silver Dome is very reactionary.
Some of these guys start with 1 foot up. Look at that foot peg right there. They've built that foot peg up twice as high. Not sure who that rider is right there just by the boot, but maybe he's a little bit short and he needs that extra height on the foot peg.
Okay, here we go. Semifinal number 2. Kyle Lewis, number 11, has got the whole shot. And Castillo and Stevenson. Stevenson is number 24. Brown is in 4th position as they go through the whoops.
Well, Kyle Lewis getting through that whoop section, no problem. Jumping that double. It's tough to do in traffic. He's got a clear track, and I like that. He protects that inside line. He wasn't really sure how much room he had, but he wasn't taking any chances.
Well, Lewis, a former Mickey Thompson Series champion, really is a hardcore tough guy. And we mentioned his injuries prior, and you heard Marty's comments on that. And he just likes to get out and bulldog it.
Well, it's easy for him to sit out right there, but, he wants to race. He's willing to dig deep and do whatever it takes to make it to the races every week, whether he's sick or injured or not. He's put in some strong performances.
There you see Brown has moved into 2nd place. The Honda of Troy rider coming across the finish line, and Stevenson right behind him. Remember, the top 5 bikes advancing directly to the main event here this evening out of this semifinal round.
So Brown really starting to close in on the leader. He was, as they went up into the corkscrew, he was pretty far behind Lewis, and as he passed Stevenson, he made up a lot of time on Lewis up the inside right here. Lewis is going to have company.
Brown not quite close enough, and he kind of spun the wheels on that gravel, like you said.
Yeah, it gets real slick. You see all that rock right there, just in between where those 2 riders went. A lot of different lines through here.
Brown taking the short route, but still Kyle Lewis able to power himself off the berm.
I noticed tonight the face of these triples is nearly straight up, so these guys are getting a lot of air time.
Brown picked up time here last time on Kyle Lewis as they go up to the corkscrew.
You don't want to position yourself really to the inside of the guy unless you think you can go up there and make the pass. Otherwise, when he slows down and goes around that inside barrel, there's no room for you. You got to sit there and wait. It'd be easy to stall the engine. So
well, too, and if you knock the rear tire, you're as in much danger, just as much danger as he is, right?
Sure. You want to position yourself to the outside so you can carry a little bit more momentum around the corner because they're jumping that double coming out of there.
So we've got a battle going on here in the semifinal round number 2 as Brown trying to pursue Kyle Lewis. Denny Stevenson in a pretty safe position there in third with Antonez in fourth. More Supercross from Pontiac when we return. Welcome back to the second semifinal round. Here is a replay while we were gone. Mike Brown takes into Kyle Lewis.
Yeah, right up the inside. Lewis left the door wide open, and Brown had to go all the way across the track, cut him off, make sure that pass stuck. But either way, he took over the lead, and he didn't do any harm to Lewis. So now Brown's starting to open up a huge lead. He's the fastest guy on the track right now. And probably a lot of times what you do is you look for lines for the main event. While you're out there this last time, you just check it out and see what you think is developing. And think about how you might want to set the bike up different, too.
Brian Swink, who had a horrible start, has now moved into fifth. Let's go down to Marty.
Well, guys, you were talking about Brownie and Jeff Nutter, his mechanic. You know how we talk about these guys communicate with each other? They have a sense. Even when he was in second place, Jeff Nutter put up a board saying, "Focus, it's your race." And he looked at me and he just smiled and he nodded his head. He knew then that he was going to catch Kyle Lewis. It's really uncanny sometimes. The mechanics really know when their riders are on.
And the mechanics, I don't think, David, get enough credit.
Well, they got to work so hard. I mean, if you think about what they have to do, they don't get a chance to be sick. You hear riders being sick. If the mechanic's sick and that bike's not ready, everyone, that's a bummer. And I remember my mechanic having problems with the truck, having to drive from cities that are so far apart and try to get everything ready, and that's not easy.
We're looking at a battle for third and fourth. They're teammates from the Great Western team. Oh, look at that, bar to bar. Antonez to the right, and Denny Stevenson, number 24. Brian Swink is coming up very rapidly right behind them.
Yeah, Swink has caught these guys from a little ways back, and right there.
Oh, he goes by Stevenson, David.
Yeah, neat line on the inside. He just starts out of the corner of that long rhythm section. He jumps the first double, then he has to jump the tabletop and positions himself perfect to the inside. It was the right time to use that line.
Boy, he was nowhere in sight at the beginning of this race, and we've got the white flag, the final lap, as going across is Larry Ward in first place here in the semifinal round. I should say Mike Brown. I'm sorry, Mike Brown of Honda of Troy. And we've got Kyle Lewis in second place. Buddy Antonez, who used to be a teammate on Team Peak with Jeremy McGrath back in 125 days. He's in third. And then number 23, Brian Swink in fourth. But 5 will qualify. And Denny Stevenson looks like he's having problems in fifth position.
Well, he's really dropped off the pace. Final lap for Brown right now. He doesn't really look like he's slowed down too much. Lewis still holding down second, but these guys behind him are starting to gain in. There they go, right by, into the outside. A good battle between Swink and Antonez.
White flag is flying on this lap as Mike Brown, circulating the track, has got a great chance.
One more time to that corkscrew.
You got to keep focused on the final few yards. The checkers from Mike Brown. It's got to be a good feeling. Here comes Kyle Lewis, number 11, getting some pressure from Swink in third. And then Buddy Antonez in fourth. It'll be Stevenson in fifth.
We'll see how close Swink was.
All but 2 of the 250 main event gate positions have been filled. Our semifinal 2 winner when we get back. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed from Pontiac Silverdome. These 5 have just concluded the semifinal round of our 250s and have made the main event. And let's hear from Mike Brown now, and he's with Marty Reed.
The semifinals have belonged to Honda of Troy, and I'll tell you what, you guys had some good horsepower. The thing I noticed was, we talked about it during the race. You and Jeff Nutter, the communication between mechanic and rider. He said when you were back in second place, focus, it's your race. Did you feel that confident too?
Yeah, I was just back out getting some better lines than Kyle Lewis, and it took me a while to get where I wanted to pass him at, but I knew by the end of the race I'd be in front of him and long gone.
Track conditions. I saw a couple of guys get cross-rutted a little bit. They had to make some nice saves. Are you worried about that come main event with 20 laps out there?
Yeah, it'll be bad, but I like the ruts. I mean, this is where I guess my track that I start doing good at every year. I mean, hopefully now I can come out there and finish in the top 5.
Well, you heard that Tonda to Troy, as far as the semifinals are concerned. Froggy, back to you up top.
There we go. Now, it certainly wasn't a Detroit accent, that's for sure. He's from Tennessee, folks. Before the 125 main, it's a Suzuki riding tip with Greg Albertine.
Breathing. It's something you do every day, 24 hours a day. You even do it in your sleep. But it's surprising how many motocross riders forget to breathe during the heat of battle. Without a good oxygen supply, muscle tissue will quickly become tired. Many racers experience muscle cramping or arm pump-up when they're not getting enough oxygen to their muscles. And since the brain also needs oxygen to function properly, many riders who aren't breathing properly may find it hard to concentrate on the track ahead. Some guys make it a point to concentrate on breathing whenever they're in the air, going over a double or triple. Others pick 1 or 2 easy places on the track where they can relax, exhale, and then take a good deep breath as they prepare for the next section. It sounds like a simple thing, and it is, but your racing will definitely improve if you take time to breathe. For Team Suzuki, this is Greg Albertine.
While we were away, the 250 last chance qualifier concluded with Michael Jones of Export, Pennsylvania, and Todd DeHoop, a local Michigan kid, getting the final 2 spots in the 250 on those gate positions. And the 125 is getting underway as we take a look at the Suzuki standings and the points. Just because Pichon is dominating the 125 East doesn't mean that we don't have an interesting points race. Only 9 points separate 4th from 6th. And to some privateers, that's very important. Nathan Ramsey in 4th, Scott Sheik in 5th. Has got a 3-point lead on Brian Deegan, trying hard in the next 3 races to get into that top 5. What did a top 5 mean to you early as we take a look at the champion, the defending champion, Mikel Pichon?
Well, early in my years Supercross riding, I was just hoping to make the main. Then after a while, top 10, I was happy to get there. I kind of took it in steps, Art. You know, I wanted to finish in the top 10 a couple of times before I started thinking about the top 5, and then you know, I started looking at being on the podium, and once that happened, it all came pretty quick for me. Taking a look at the Suzuki starting grid, of course, we breezed by Mikel Pichon and John Dowd, 1 and 2 in the points. We also got guys like 441 Robbie Skaggs, who went from 16th after the first lap to 6th in Houston, and is looking for a much better finish here tonight. Yeah, it looks like Pichon here is taking a hot lap. This is they let these guys take a parade lap, and they take a little last glance at the track. It's changed a little bit since the last time they were out there. Some sections they've fixed a little bit with the dozers, and other sections are a little more rutted in the face of the jumps. You can see over to the right of your screen, there's some ruts going up the face of that jump before they go across in front of the starting line. And that gets tricky. You know, last time they were out there, those might not have been that deep, and he needs to know that, and he'll take note of it in case he gets a good start, or sometimes a bad one. He'll have a line in the back of his mind he needs to take in case he gets buried in traffic. Pichon and Dowd next to each other there at the gate as we see them pop in. Mikel Pichon has been just a terrific rider, running away with the last 3 races, winning 5 on the season. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, keep your eyes on John Dowd early. Talked to Brian Berry, his crew chief, and they were talking about the fact that he got a serious case of arm pump during the qualifying or the heat race, and he's not, you know, he took the parade lap very slowly, and I've been watching him, and he has a concerned look. Now it looks like Pichon has got his hand up, and yes, Chad Watts is working in there. Let me just see if I can jump in. We may have another spark plug foul.
Whoa.
No, it looks like it's the brake pedal or the shifter. Yeah, he's got a little adjustment on the shifter, so he looks like he's ready to go. It's actually the looks like on the brake pedal side, Chad had a couple of wrenches in there. It's hard to see because it was behind his foot, but I think he was adjusting either the play in that rear brake or the height of that rear brake pedal. And that's just a guess, but with those wrenches in there like that, I think I may be right. Send it back to me, Dan.
Marty?
See right there, he's... Yeah, you were right. It was the height that they wanted to get the adjustment on.
30-second board is up now as we get set for the 125 East main event.
John Dowd
race, excuse me.
John Dowd was picking the foam out of his goggles, it looked like. Maybe sweat. He sweats quite a bit, and he's trying to give that sweat a place to go or something so it doesn't splatter in the lenses. I don't know. It's hard to tell from up here.
Okay, we're just about set now for what has proven to be some excitement here in the 125s. The Eastern Division with 2 more races after this. Revving it up, and we're off.
Grayson Goodman with another hole shot.
Grayson Goodman out of Texas, one of Jeremy McGrath's friends. Lives north of Dallas, fighting it out with Ferry. Here comes Dowd to the inside. James Dowd's got the angle.
Nice move. He just gets in there and puts the block pass on Goodman. Goodman's been getting off the line great lately. He's got the inside line here.
Pashon is in 8th or 9th place.
Well, this is what Dowd was hoping for. We talked to him earlier, and he was hoping to just get up there and have a chance to run with Pashon. Right now, he's got his hands full with Goodman, and you can see Ferry right there behind him, and Pashon still not in your screen yet, so Dowd will get his wish.
Dowd pretty much picking his spots against Goodman as he makes his move up the hill. Ferry sneaking to the inside, number 20. Oh, but a good race underway in the 125 main event.
So Goodman in that corkscrew losing a couple of positions. There's Pashon working his way up. He's behind Deegan right there. Quite a ways off the pace right now. He's got a lot of work to do to catch up to your leader right here. John Dowd, he's already got a little breathing room, but Ferry's coming quick.
Pashon is in 12th place.
You can see Pashon just going into the first turn at the very back of your screen right there. He's got this whole whoop section to do before he gets caught up to the leaders.
John Dowd, can he hold the lead? That's the big question. Is Mikel Pashon slicing through the field? Now, Pashon last year here at the Silverdome passed 11 riders in 6 laps to win the race.
Oh, he's going to have to do that again. He's way back in the pack. Guys are jumping over his head now. He's stuck in traffic. Now Yezik and Ferry in a tight battle. I thought Ferry pretty much had 3rd place locked up, 2nd place at one time, but now he's got pressure from Davey Yezik.
Goodman in 2nd place, number 72. Then Ferry, then Yezik, number 40.
You see Jimmy Neese has got a little different idea through that rhythm section, jumping over some of the plateaus. A great battle back here behind the leaders.
Yezik and Neese, 61.
Now
when you get a tough situation like this, David, when Goodman really held Ferry up quite a ways.
Well, he got in there and put the pass back on him. I don't think he really held up the pace. They still stayed about the same distance behind Dowd while they were passing each other back and forth. But I like it. I like to see Grayson get in there and ride aggressive. I know during practice, he's just as fast as any of these guys, and he gets in the race and rides a little bit nervous or whatever, and he's not able to ride up to his potential. But the only way to do that is to get in there and get aggressive and make that pass. If you hold somebody up, so what? You know, they can pass you right back.
Contender Neese is way back, having trouble in the whoops, and Pashon has moved into 8th. Dowd, Ferry, Goodman, Yezik, and Hedden. Jeff Hedden each week tries to go both 250s and 125s. He's in the 125 main right now.
Well, I have a feeling it won't be long before Pashon works his way onto that top 5 leaderboard. He's carving through the pack now, starting to find his rhythm, but he's lost a lot of time to the leaders. Ferry starting to put some pressure on Dowd. He's got an inside line on that whoop section. That may pay off a little later unless Dowd hears him and moves over.
Well, Ferry, David, would like to end the season with a nice race. He's had a head-scratching season.
Well, I think Dowd has too. I mean, he probably didn't expect to see himself in the lead, and you know, he's moving back to 125s. He really didn't know what to expect. Found himself leading the series, and he admitted that it kind of got to him a little bit. But both these guys want to get a win. They want to beat Pashon bad.
There's Pashon, and looks like he's in 6th spot.
Stuffs it into that left-hander before the triple, trying to get a run. As he took a little glimpse over to his left to see where the leaders are. He's keeping tabs on if he's losing or gaining any time on the leaders. He doesn't care what place he's in. He's not losing much time. Then 15 laps is a long time.
John Dowd, our leader, after failing to qualify at Indy, he tried something new. Stayed away from the bike during the week. Came back in Tampa, won the heat race, took a 2nd place. But he did work out, of course, this week. He started back to his training schedule. Here comes Ferry on the inside track. Ferry making the best decision there.
Well, that last lap through there, I thought he had a pretty nice run on him, and I thought Dowd might be able to hear him and cover that, but he didn't hear it, and Ferry made a good pass right there. And it'd be interesting to see if Dowd can get him right back. He's trying for him on that inside right there, but it's just not enough.
Let's take another look at that now as we see him in the whoops.
Up the inside, you'll see that Dowd kind of cased that double. Ferry got over it a little cleaner. That allowed him to maintain more momentum, and he had the inside, cut him off perfect. He actually slowed down just a little bit in the turn just to make sure Dowd couldn't come back under him.
Pichon is now in 4th place. He's got Grayson Goodman in 3rd in front of him.
And he's gaining on the leaders, Art. There's plenty of time.
Ferry, number 20 in the lead. Oh, exciting 125 action. We'll be back with more of the main event. 125 main event. Tim Ferry. He's looking for his first win of the year. But look at Mikel Pichon. He's gaining fast on the front two.
There he goes to the whoop-de-doo section. Over that double, no problem. He's been faster there. He jumped. He only touches twice in that last half of the whoop section. He's making up a lot of time there. I say he's clicking off about a second a lap on the leaders right now. And there's plenty of time for him to close in and put pressure on these two guys. They're kind of battling amongst themselves right now. I don't think they're holding up the pace. I think Pichon's just faster.
Tim Ferry out in front. John Dowd not far behind. Dowd winning the Atlanta race when Pichon, of course, had that big get-off and crashed up the corkscrew.
Dowd's keeping the pressure on. They're a little slow through that corner, and you got a glimpse of Pichon going up the hill just as they were coming out. As soon as they realize he's coming fast, that's going to change the complexion of this battle.
He's only 4 seconds off the leading pace.
Well, now they are holding each other up. They held each other up in that corkscrew. They're holding each other up in all these tight corners. See what happens to the whoop section.
Tim Ferry is giving way. He started in the whoop section very slow. Let him by.
I don't know what's going on with Ferry. It looked like he just lost his concentration or something. Now he's taking lines that he hasn't been taking. Doing everything completely different. Pichon's probably going to go right by on the inside. Ferry's looking around way too much. He needs to focus straight ahead.
So it's John Dowd out in front with Pichon closing into 2nd place. Here's the whoop section of Pichon. Makes it easy. Mikel Pichon winning the last 3 races in a row. Not just winning it, but just running away with them. Tonight, he's had to battle from behind.
He sure has carved through the pack quick. There's a halfway sign, and he was, I don't know, as far back as maybe 14th at one time. He's worked his way at the halfway point all the way into 2nd place. And Ferry, I don't know what's going on there. He doesn't look anything like Tim Ferry I saw in the first 5 or 6 laps. Looked like he just completely lost his concentration and gave up.
Yeah, there's a rider that was in contention for the title last year. Pichon even mentioned disappointment that Ferry wasn't more competitive. Oh, Mikel Pichon.
Came up a little short there. It looked like he went into the face of that triple and got into one of those deep ruts, lost some of that momentum. You see his mechanic, Brian Barry, saying, fight, man, fight. You wanted this opportunity. It's here. Now fight.
Marty Reed at trackside.
Well, guys, I'm wondering if the arm pump situation might not be a factor for Tim Ferry, because you're right. I mean, he keeps looking over his shoulder like he's just hoping this race was over. And here we are in the 2nd half, and we got to keep an eye on John Dowd. Remember, he had a serious case of arm pump in his heat race.
Look at that different line there. Pichon all the way over the outside jumps that section, and that's going to get the crowd into it. That may make Dowd a little nervous.
Well, he's been nervous before and has not reacted well to it. Pichon to the outside this time, just taking a different line than Dowd.
Neither one of those guys got over that double jump in that section. The lap rider right there did a good job. It was nice of him to stay out of the way, not affect the outcome here.
The way Tim Ferry is fading in 3rd, Scott Sheik might catch up with him. Scott in 4th, looking to make a run at Ramsey behind him for 4th place in the points.
They're already lapping James Eichel. He's not having one of his best races, but that just shows you how far up through the field these guys are already starting to lap in the 2nd half of this race.
If you had to bet, would you say Mikel Pichon will make his move? John Dowd sticking it out, though.
Well, John's not going to want to give this up. You know, he didn't qualify in Indy and handed over the points lead to Pichon, and he wants to prove that had that not happened, Pichon would have had his hands full for the title. He may have a good points lead, but he's going to have to fight for this race win.
And Pichon tries to sneak that wheel up there. Does he have him? We'll check it out. Great race. Pichon goes wide, and Dowd can't block him. John Dowd had the angle, but didn't time it right.
Well, it was tough. He wasn't quite close enough as it came into that section. He got into all that gravel on the inside and tried to put the move back in there. Now it'll be so important for him to hang on to Pichon and keep the pressure on. He's not close enough, and Pichon makes a mistake. It won't do him any good. He's got to stay right on his rear fender, especially when they get into lappers in case Pichon makes a bad decision. Here's another look. Coming through the whoop section, watch Pichon. He jumps his double perfect. Dowd coming up short. Then he hits that next jump, Pichon, and jumps almost all the way to the end of that whoop section. Dowd probably could have gassed it a little harder there, but I think he was trying to be just a little bit too polite. And that's good sportsmanship, but when you want to win races, you need to get in there and be just a little bit more aggressive than that. He's probably thinking about that. He will after the race anyway.
Well, Pichon won the title last year and only 3 wins, but never got out of the top 4. And this year already 5 wins in 8 races this year.
Well, Pichon's starting to carry a lot of momentum around that corner, but he only did the double that time.
Tim Ferry went down. So his woes increase. The Honda stopwatch. Let's check the interval. About 3.7 between first and second, and Pichon is just starting to pull away.
Dowd's already starting to lose a little time. Tim Ferry appears to be in pain right now. He's in the corner right before they enter the start straight. He's off the bike.
Pichon. He's off the track.
That's right before the corkscrew. He got out of shape going through the whoop-de-doo section, went off the track. He's lost a lot of time now to Dowd. I'd say he's about 8 to 10 seconds behind now. And that's what I was talking about. He needed to keep that pressure on Pichon, stay there, be on Pichon's mind.
Perfect guess. 8 seconds behind. But he's made it up before.
Well, the question, I don't think he bent anything on the motorcycle, so he seemed to be faster. There's a look at Ferry now. He's hanging onto his knee, it looks like.
Uh-oh. Checking out the lap time. This is a beautiful track. There's so many innovative things on this track.
Well, it's proved to, there's been some surprises out there. See what his lap time is. Pichon, this is a lap time on a guy who went off the racetrack. 1:13, I would say. That's normally around just maybe 1:03 or so. So he lost about 8 to 10 seconds with that mistake.
Okay, here's Dowd, our leader, going up toward that corkscrew. That same position was a popular off-the-track situation in the 125s earlier in the qualifying.
Here comes Pichon through that whoop section. Let's see if we can find out what happened. I think that what happened, he got in a rut. He was off balance, and he just couldn't stay on the racetrack. It's a little bit narrow through there as they go up into that corkscrew, and fortunately there was a little gap for him to go between those hay bales. Otherwise he might have crashed. There's DeCoster with Tim Ferry now, so he'll limp off. His race just fell apart. He had the lead, he came from behind, got in front, and then, I don't know, I think perhaps Marty was right. His arms pumped up, and he just wasn't riding like he was supposed to, made a mistake. And
Pichon's only 3 seconds behind Dowd right now.
He's starting to pick it up, and you know, the interesting thing now is where Pichon made up that time, Dowd probably won't let that happen again. He'll know where Pichon is faster, and Pichon has actually started riding around a lot slower now. Wouldn't get a shot at him. He's apparently given up.
Very, very slow, standing up as we see Dowd coming off the corkscrew. White flag lap.
Perhaps Pichon knows it's only a lap to go. He just went around the mechanics area and got that board. He's riding really slow, so it's hard to say if he just knows he's got second locked up and he doesn't want to do anything weird on the last lap, or something maybe happened to his motorcycle. But Dowd, if he can keep it upright, he could probably fall still and win this race. It's got to feel good.
Dowd would pick up 3 points on Pichon with still 2 races left.
Well, behind Pichon, you can see how slow he's going now. He's not going nearly the pace that he had before. Maybe he did something to his motorcycle when he went off the track, but behind him, Sheik and Ramsey are closing fast. So if he loses those 2 spots, Dowd will pick up a lot of points.
Sheik and Ramsey going at it, as we mentioned earlier. Their battle is really for the top 5, and Sheik goes down. Ramsey, as we take a look at our leader, there's Sheik, number 26. Bad break for him as he tries to gun it for a top 5 position. John Dowd, our leader, the checkered flag, our 125 reader. His second win on the season, and Pichon, a leisure second place.
Well, it was a fine ride for him, but I guarantee he's not happy with second.
Nathan Ramsey third. We'll be right back, hearing from a winner after this. Very unhappy Mikel Pichon, who inches forward to his second consecutive 125 Eastern crown. We'll take another look at Pichon's off-the-track incident. It appears that Mikel is more disappointed about the mechanics of the situation rather than anybody on the track.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know why he's mad. It looked to me like this was just his own fault. He could be upset with himself for that. But he made a mistake after that. That might be what he's mad at.
125 results. Dowd, Pichon, Ramsey staying in front of Sheik in that battle for 5th. And Davey Jezik, one of his finer performances of the season for Jezik. In fact, it ties his 4th place finish. Or correction, 5th place is his second best of the year. His 4th place finish in Atlanta. So let's go down now to Marty Reed.
Well, you mentioned it. He won in Atlanta. Now he wins tonight here in Pontiac. You've got to be one happy camper.
Yeah, that was pretty good. You know, I was, Pichon was kind of going a little better than me there. I don't know if I was a little tight or whatever, but I just kept telling myself to hang in there tough and, you know, maybe something will happen. And it did, so, you know, it came out in my favor.
Well, Brian shared with us that you had a bit of arm pump in the heat race, and we were wondering if you were going to be able to hold on. Take us through what happened on the spill. You had the best view of it.
Well, actually, I didn't really see it because I was going through the whoops. I was sort of watching what I was doing, and I looked up, and, you know, he was off the track. He must have just cross-rutted or something. You know, there's a lot of ruts out there. You can't really see it from the camera, so it's kind of tricky to get a little, you know, your wheel like half in one or something, and, you know, you can go sideways real quick, so.
Well, I'll tell you what, those arms may be tired, but they're very happy arms right now. John Dowd, our winner. Mikel, you're not very happy, but I got to tell you, before we ask you that, you came from 13th to take the lead, but what made you upset there at the end?
Well, at the beginning of the race, I got a bad start, and I had a problem with my rear brake. So everywhere on all the landing and all the face, I was hitting my brake because it was way too tight and way too strong. And I don't know what happened between the heat race and the main, but it works very bad. And at the beginning of the race, like I think you have seen, I was making a lot of mistakes and I was very slow. I even lost a couple of places. At the beginning I was like 10, and after 2 laps I was 15 or 13, I don't know. And after that, all the guys got tired a little bit, so I passed them all, and I catch the first guy. But at the end I made a big mistake in the hoops, and that passed me. But I had a lot of problem to breathe tonight. I don't know why, but even at the heat race I was not so good tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, he still came back and put on a fine show for us. I know he's not happy, but it was fun watching down here, guys.
It was a good 125 race, David.
It was fantastic. He did. It was an amazing ride for him to catch the leader. Then he went off the track, and he was just upset with himself. And anytime you have a change in the motorcycle like that, it really throws off your concentration.
But Dowd, as you can see here in the point situation, still mathematically in it with 2 races left on the season, and the great battle with Sheik, and now Ramsey continues in 4th and 5th. So the victory celebration is underway for the 125s. Mikel Pichon, not winning this one, breaks a string of 3 victories previous as John Dowd comes back with his second 125 victory of the season. We'll be back with more. The big prize coming up. The 250s are next. Art Ekman trying to survive laryngitis throughout this event. Jeremy McGrath trying to survive here in the main event coming up after not winning a heat race. But the historic fact for these 52,000 fans at the Silverdome is he's won the title.
That's right. Just by making the main event, there's 20 riders in the field. You get 1 point for 20th, so the title's his. And I'm thinking about that now in the heat race when he kind of realized it wasn't going to get around La Rocco and win that. He kind of rode around the last lap and sort of had fun, did a cross-up on the finish line jump, and he was happy. Everyone's going, what happened? He got a third, but he was stoked. He won the title.
It'll be interesting to see what his attitude is in this main event. He loves to win, and I think my thought is he's going to go for it. Let's go down trackside now to Marty Reed and the Dunlop Track Fact.
Well, you always hear us talk about technical tracks. Well, take a look here at the whoop section at Pontiac. Normally, these whoops are identical, let you get into a good rhythm. But take a look right in the middle. There are two that are twice the normal size. And what it causes is a break in that rhythm. And the really great riders have figured it out. What they've done is been able to sort of glide over them, doubling up on them, and skipping across some of the others. The riders that have not figured it out, well, let's sort of say that they look like a bad excuse for a porpoise that would embarrass even Flipper.
He comes up with at least one great one a match, doesn't he, as we take a look at the Suzuki starting grid. I still like your Popeye line, though, partner.
Yep, the arm pump Popeye takes the cake.
There they are, the riders in the main event for the 250s, the guys that'll be earning some bucks out of this evening. And as we take a look at Michael Craig coming back to win a semifinal. Ezra Lusk.
Yeah, Lusk is looking good in that heat race. He still let Jeremy get by him, but Doug Henry winning his heat race. I was really impressed. And you know what? I'm noticing as they take the parade lap, Doug Henry is the last guy around the track. I used to like to do that, so I didn't have to sit on the starting line like McGrath is right here and get nervous for that long. I like to be the last guy there, so when I got there, they put the board up immediately, and you're warmed up.
Here's the point situation coming into tonight's action. McGrath with the dominating feature. Jeff Emig and Ryan Hughes. That's a battle still for second place. Can the 250 rookie overcome the veteran on that Kawasaki team? We mentioned earlier Damon Huffman is not here after doing a face plant last week. Skip Norfolk always has some encouraging words or some philosophy. The Jeremy McGrath, almost like the fighter in the corner, you know.
We might just be reading too much into it, though. Who knows what they're saying? They may be talking about the party after this race that Honda's probably going to have for Jeremy.
Down to Marty.
Well, guys, I talked to Skip Norfolk right before the start. I said, hey, did you make any changes for this main event? He said, absolutely none. We're still going with the setup that has worked real well for us on the technical tracks. He says, all we got to do is get a good start. It'll be our race.
Okay, Marty, 30-second board is already up, and we're just waiting for it to go sideways, and then it'll be from 5 to 10 seconds when that guy in the shack decides, hey, let's get this thing going. You'll hear the bikes over this tremendous crowd probably revving at the time the board goes sideways. There is the champion for the 4th consecutive year, breaking a Bob Hanna record of 3 consecutive Supercross titles. Okay, they're revving now. Let's see who can get the whole shot. Jeremy McGrath got a very poor start for him. Ezra Lusk, 34, is out in front. McGrath is buried at about 8, but he came out of it clean. McGrath in the whoops. Ezra Lusk is being pursued by Henry. Henry 15 to the inside, and it's Hughes, number 5.
Well, this is ugly for Jeremy McGrath because Henry, who won his heat race I was so impressed with, looks like he might go into the lead here. He got around Hughes. Hughes was fast in the heat race as well. All 3 of these guys, Lusk, the early leader, all 3 of them, I think, have the potential, the speed, everything it takes to beat Jeremy McGrath, and what an opportunity with McGrath in 7th place.
Could this be the night that the string of consecutive wins at 11 is broken for the great champion? Jimmy Button went down in the button hook, and he is in last place now as Ezra Lusk and Hughes and Henry. In that order, Lawrence is next with Larry Ward, Swank, and then Jeremy McGrath.
Look at Henry jump into that outside line. He squares off Ryan Hughes. Doesn't quite have enough to get by him. Into the whoops. This is where Hughes was so fast earlier, but he's not making any time on Lusk. Lusk's getting through there quick.
McGrath has moved into 6th.
Larry Ward trying to stuff Phil Lawrence there. His feet came off the pegs. He kind of went to the last part of that whoop section a little faster than I think he wanted to, but he almost made it work.
Lusk looks like he's slowing down a bit. Either that or Ryan Hughes is just putting the pressure on.
Well, Hughes has learned his lesson. I think Lusk has learned his lesson. He's coming off of 5th, a bunch of 4ths, a 3rd. He's worked his way up the ladder, and so is McGrath right now. He's already moved his way up 1 spot at least, 2 spots.
He's in 5th position as he pursues Lawrence now.
It's going to be tough to get around these 2 guys. They've learned not to be too nervous and make mistakes early in the race. I know 20 laps is a long time, and you can bet that. I know Ryan, I've talked to him over the phone between races here and there, and he's patient. He knows that Jeremy is patient. that's why he's won races. He waits for the other guys to make a mistake. I wouldn't bet on Ryan Hughes doing anything dumb here tonight.
Ezra Lusk, number 34, since Daytona, 3 fourth-place finishes, but here comes Ryan Hughes making the pass where many passes by the good riders have been made. Ryan Hughes leading this 250 main as Jeremy McGrath gets by Henry. He wants by Lawrence, and he has moved into third, believe it or not.
He passed both those guys in the same corner, moves into third. Now he's behind this battle right here. Hughes pulling a tear off. Now he's got clear vision, a clear track. A long time before he gets into lap rider, so it's all up to him.
And Hughes is a hungry rider. Rhino, of course, not totally satisfied with his first 250 season, but for the most part, he is very pleased to be where he is in the points.
He looks really good right now. He looks relaxed. He hits the downside of that tabletop. He jumps the double out of that inside. See, he works his way down the left side of that straightaway, so he gets into that berm there to the starting line with a lot of momentum. He doesn't hit it square and slow down his speed. McGrath behind him has worked his way into second.
That's because Lusk went down before the button hook, before the cut back up in the stands.
I saw Ryan Hughes sneak just a little peek over to notice that McGrath is now the man stalking him. That might make him a little nervous, but I have a feeling that McGrath goes wide.
Lawrence can't get the traction.
Yeah, he spins out on those pebbles and kind of slows up Henry as well and allows McGrath. McGrath has positioned himself so perfectly right there, and it really forced those guys kind of into a mistake right there to try to have to go around that inside corner so quick, knowing he was on the outside.
All right, Suzuki Field summary. Ryan Hughes leading, Jeremy McGrath now at second. Phil Lawrence, the top privateer, non-factory rider. Larry Ward, Honda of Troy, and Doug Henry, Team Yamaha.
Now McGrath right now, second place, chasing Ryan Hughes, and Hughes is still, he looks good. He came out of that corner, had a lot of momentum. He's lost just a little bit of time to McGrath. See McGrath right there, but Hughes is fast to the whoops. McGrath's not going to catch him in there.
Well, he said tonight's the night. If he's going to beat Jeremy, it would be an interesting thought, would it not? If he can hold him off.
It'd be pretty amazing. I know these guys are friends. They ride together quite a bit. Look at this battle, though, for third place.
Ward, number 6, yes.
Privateer. Another privateer, Larry Ward, on actually the independent team. Both these guys. It's the next tier from the privateer up to the factory. So these guys' bikes are working good. They're getting better throughout the season. They're getting good starts now, and it shows. They're battling for a podium position right now.
Phil Lawrence has had an outstanding non-factory year. He's trying to get back into the factory scene. He was a team rider on the 125 Team Suzuki squad.
A good battle shaping up between all these guys. Henry now starting to find his rhythm. He's got pressure from Emick, so that's a four-way battle for third.
Look at here. McGrath has pulled up Ryan Hughes. They go for the whoops. Hughes jumping it just about like Jeremy does.
Yeah, he's going faster there. I think actually Jeremy's learning from Hughes through there.
Jeremy McGrath gets cut off on the inside. Oh! Ryan Hughes buckled him.
You know, these guys practice together, and I'll bet you anything that McGrath just went in there and did that kind of on purpose, just kind of having fun with Hughes right now, and Hughes did a good job keeping his composure.
Berdabar into the whoop section before the corkscrew. Jeremy backing down a little bit. Everybody in the stadium, 58,000 or 54,000, on their feet watching this battle between Ryan Hughes, number 5, and Jeremy McGrath.
What an opportunity for Hughes to get out there and run with probably the best motocross rider and supercross rider ever. I don't know when there's another Jeremy McGrath coming along. I don't see any, and right now Hughes has got pressure from him and he's holding them off.
You think Jeremy's just biding his time, though?
He's being patient. I think he's probably having a good time right now. He's probably happy to see that Hughes is up there. He knows he's got a lot of time left.
Once again, that tight corner before they go into the rocker.
You know, I think there's a lot of respect between these two guys, and sometimes you see McGrath and Emick in some of these battles, and you'll see Emick, you know, going all the way across the track and cutting him off, trying to protect his line, and I don't think you'll see that from Hughes. Hughes is a fighter, but he won't do anything dirty like that, which we've seen occasionally from Emick.
David, you remember I was talking with Jeremy McGrath yesterday, and we asked him about the future, and he sees a lot of young riders coming up to be better against him, and he said Ryan Hughes has figured it out, but here goes Jeremy McGrath. Oh, what a move.
One mistake from Hughes. He came out of the corner, couldn't get over that double. That's all it took. McGrath has kept the pressure, stayed close enough.
Can he bar the door, or will Hughes hang on? Oh, we'll see the exciting finish of the 250 main event from the Silverdome when we get back. And that is, if I don't get a good start, do I really want this win bad enough after I've already sewed up my 4th consecutive Supercross?
Well, I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, the guy is in the heat race.
3 races to go, David. Have you ever seen that happen?
He doesn't even need to be here. I mean, the chances of Emick winning the last 4 races if Jeremy didn't show up are pretty slim. And he really didn't even need to be here. We used to see Hannah do that.
On the stopwatch as we check out the interval now. Yeah, see, there's a good 5.5 between 1st and 2nd place. And we'll check out his lap time right now. Larocco making a move through the whoops pretty well.
You know, this is just unbelievable, the fact that Jeremy, I mean, we just pointed it out, he doesn't have to win this race, doesn't even have to be here. He came from a lousy start, worked his way into the lead. This is 12 in a row. Every time he shows up to a race, it's history. And Ryan Hughes, though, I'm really impressed. He's not that far behind, and he's getting closer and closer every week.
The Swingster got in front of Lawrence, moving into 4th.
Lawrence running across that off-camber whoop section. He's got pressure now from Lusk.
Well, Swink likes his hometown atmosphere here in the state of Michigan, that's for sure. Number 23, as we take a look at Jeremy McGrath to see what his lap time is.
Probably going to be right around a minute.
Fans in Charlotte, you know, take it to heart. Jeremy, even though he's wrapped up the crown, he'll be there next weekend.
101 for Jeremy. And he's opening up about a second and a half a lap over Hughes. And Hughes is still maintaining the same lead he had over Jeff Emick. But behind them, Swink is really starting to ride good.
And Lusk has passed Phil Lawrence, moving, trying to make a move anyway on number 23, Brian Swink.
And Swink rode, this was his best race last year, so he's obviously comfortable with the surroundings here and the soil and the type of track, the ruts. He says he doesn't mind the ruts. And 2 years in a row, he's putting together pretty solid performances.
Marty Reed has moved over next to Wyatt Seals for some comments. Marty.
Yeah, we're down here as we're watching Ryan Hughes. You know, he had a great start there, and it looked like for a while he was going to be able to hold on. But so far, you know, again, same old story.
Yeah, I know. It seems that he's tightened up a little bit out there. He was riding really well at first. I don't know what the problem is. Emick's coming on pretty strong, though, so I hope he can hold him off.
You think it's mental or just the physical pounding of the track?
No, it's mental. Ryan's in shape. He's in shape. He works too hard for it to be physical.
This has been a great race for him if it was only 10 laps. Unfortunately, it's 20, guys.
As this is the battle for 2nd place. Jeremy McGrath with a 9-second lead on these 2 Kawasaki's. Number 5, Ryan Hughes and Jeff Emick. So far, Ryan's been able to hold the veteran off.
Well, it's been like this for several laps now, and Emick's got some different lines here and there, and he caught Ryan pretty quick, which leads me to believe that maybe Ryan's arms pumped up just a little bit, or he just started losing his rhythm, because he was running the pace with McGrath for a while, led this thing for a long time, and it's kind of all falling apart for him right now. But he's still hanging on. Whenever Emick gets up next to him, he's got an answer for it.
These two, of course, had battles in the past. And let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, we're down here with Jerry Albrecht, and he's sending signs. I get a kick out of you. You're not worried about 2nd place. You're telling him -9 to McGrath. You still think you got a shot?
Well, you always got to look ahead. I don't want him worried about Ryan. I want him to look ahead and just concentrate on the race and go for the win.
Well, that's a great attitude, guys. Now, can he execute?
9 seconds. That's a lot to make up in the final lap right now. This is a white flag lap, and Emick in front of Ryan Hughes.
Now, we thought that was the last lap. They was actually they're coming up on the last lap. They used a different flag there, and Ryan's starting to make little mistakes. And look just behind him, number 34, Lusk, is gaining fast. With a lap to go, if Ryan, Wyatt better put a signal on the board to keep him sharp on this final lap, because Lusk can sneak in there and grab it from him.
3 laps.
Here's our leader, Jeremy McGrath, looking for career win number 41 and his 12th consecutive Supercross victory.
Well, about the only thing wrong with Jeremy right here that I can see is his jersey came untucked, Art. I can't find anything else wrong with this guy.
Fashion statement, maybe.
Whatever he does is, he comes from behind, he wins with the whole shot, no matter what the track's like. Tonight, the other guys were going so good in the other heat races and stuff, and he got third in his. I thought, well, maybe that's an indication of the things to come in the main event. He's already wrapped up the title, but still doesn't matter. He's out front and able to kind of ride sort of cautiously and take his time with the big lead.
The interesting fact is that Hughes has faded, and look at this. Ezra Lusk, who went down, is coming back in a battle for third.
This isn't a good feeling. I hate this feeling. If you're Ryan Hughes right here and you know you got still a half a lap to go, a quarter of a lap, you got a tricky section coming up right here. If he can hold him off through here, he's going to have third place.
This is the white flag lap as Jeremy crosses the finish line.
When you're not feeling good and things aren't going well, you don't want to have to sprint the last half a lap with a guy on your tail like Lusk, but looks like he may be able to hang on to it. Barely.
There's Hughes, and there's Lusk, number 34 from Team Suzuki. Lusk, as we mentioned earlier, doing a great job with 3 fourth-place finishes and 1 third in the last 4 races. Has come on strong, learning a lot now.
Still a lap to go. I was completely wrong. I thought that was the last lap. Lusk on the inside to the whoop section. Gets by Hughes. Hughes probably wishes that was the last lap.
Yeah.
I saw the flag.
Oh, Ezra Lusk. This guy is matured.
He's got a shot at Emick. You can see Emick right there to the left of your screen. Lusk is close enough.
Meanwhile, the flashbulbs are popping for Jeremy McGrath. He's coming around now. We'll get the checkered flag. Hughes is not going to be a friendly sort tonight.
Now he's beat. Here comes McGrath. Win number 12.
Jeremy McGrath. Look at that. So perfection reigns once again. And Ryan Hughes in 4th with Brian Swink unofficially in 5th. So we'll be right back to hear from the champion as you see him waving to the crowd here in the Silver Dome. Congratulations by Jeff Emick. We'll be back hearing from Jeremy in a moment.
On ESPN2 has been brought to you by Honda Motorcycles and ATVs. Get to your dealer now for the lowest deals of the year. And by Suzuki. Right now, your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it.
Jeremy McGrath and Skip Norfolk celebrating their 4th consecutive championship. And David, as you pointed out, when Jeremy waves to the crowd, Skip keeps the bike going. That's teamwork, let me tell you. But Jeremy, as we look at our results page now, gave everybody a shot.
Everybody had a shot. Jeremy and Emick actually were about the same on the start, back in about 8th or 9th. And Doug Henry led early, Lusk led early, Hughes led, and they all made mistakes. Hughes faded, Lusk crashed, and Henry led. He fell way back in the back.
Okay, and with his hands on that number 1 plate right now is Jeremy McGrath. Let's go to Marty.
Hey, I got to tell you, do you think that there was any kind of pre-planning on this? Take a look at this sweatshirt. First 4-time ever Supercross champion, 4 in a row. Congratulations. You know, this was just phenomenal watching this take place. The heat race didn't go as well. Did you have any doubts after the start in the main when you knew you had to play catch-up again?
Well, I don't know what my problem is. Lately, I've just been not getting such great starts, and you know, I just kind of had to take my time. The track was really good tonight. I think this is my favorite track of the whole year yet, and I mean, I just had to pick them up. Skip made my bike perfect, and couldn't be better.
You went, Skip, but, you know, we always talk about the mechanics. It's a partnership in this relationship. You made no changes, and you went back to some old setups that worked from last year.
Well, yeah, you know, this track's, like you said, we were talking, this track was a lot like what we used to race on, and we tried to get it as close as what we could to some old settings. We weren't able to duplicate them. Might have been a little better if we could have, but, you know, we're going to take this. It's great to be standing up here, and 4 championships. It's awesome.
I'll tell you what, I want to bring Tom Mueller in. He is Vice President, Pro Racing AMA. Stay in here, Skip. You've earned the share of this, too. I'm going to just hold the mic over, Tom, make the presentation. That's number 4 you're holding right there.
Thank you, Jeremy. This is for you. The AMA has a 70-year history in racing. You're going to go down as one of the greats of all time. 12 in a row this year, 4 championships, and you're one of the greats, and we thank you for what you've done for our sport.
Thanks, Tom. You know, I mean, I can't even believe it. You know, me and Skip here, we're living a dream, and we got to be the luckiest people there are. And thanks to AMA, you know, it's all been possible. And, you know, without you guys, I wouldn't be here.
I'm going to tell you something. The dream's going to continue for 3 more weeks because that's now the next goal. Can he win all 15 races?
And it's Charlotte next, St. Louis after that, and Denver, Colorado as we take a look at number 1. He doesn't have to change that plate at all.
And that was the pass for the lead, past Ryan Hughes. All it took was one mistake, and Jeremy was close enough to take advantage of it. And to answer Marty's question, can he win them all? Mark, from what I've seen, absolutely.
McGrath with a perfect 300 points in the point standings. And Emick and Hughes still in a bona fide battle for second.